Meatloaf is a classic, but why stop at one way to enjoy it? Today, I'm showing you 3 delicious twists: barbecue glazed meatloaf, a crispy, melty meatloaf sandwich, and meatloaf stuffed peppers. Whether you love it traditional, in a sandwich, or packed with extra flavor, I've got you covered. Let's cook. A good meatloaf starts with building flavor, and onions are key. Dice them finely so they blend into the mix without overpowering each bite. If you want a milder taste, saute them first. Otherwise, keep them raw for extra texture. Now for the stuffed peppers. We're grating some cheese to melt on top. Freshly grated cheese gives you a better texture and melt than pre-shredded kind, so it's worth the extra step. First, we're adding 250 milliliters of milk. This helps keep the meatloaf moist and tender. Next, 1 large egg to bind everything together. A splash of soy sauce for depth and umami. It's a secret ingredient that makes a big difference. Whisk it all until fully combined. This will help the breadcrumbs absorb evenly. Now, we add 100 grams of panko breadcrumbs. This mixture is called a panade. The breadcrumbs soak up the liquid, keeping the meat from getting dense or dry. It's the key to juicy and tender meatloaf. Now, in goes 500 grams of lean ground beef and 500 grams of lean ground pork. Next, 2 to 3 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. Then 2 to 3 tablespoons of paprika for a warm color and a subtle smokiness. A good hit of garlic powder, 2 to 3 tablespoons for that rich savory kick. 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground black pepper. 1 tablespoon of sea salt to enhance all the other flavors. Now, we add in our diced onion. This will melt into the meat as it cooks, adding sweetness and moisture. Finally, 1 to 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, or W sauce, for an extra boost of umami and depth. Now, it's time to bring everything together. Mixing by hand helps ensure all the ingredients are evenly distributed without overworking the meat. You want to gently fold and press rather than squeeze. This keeps the meatloaf tender instead of dense. If you want extra flavor, now's a great time to mix in some fresh herbs or even a bit of shredded cheese. The panade we made earlier is doing its job locking in moisture so the final meatloaf stays juicy. Once everything is well combined, we're ready to shape and cook. Now, we're shaping the meatloaf into a rectangle, making sure it's even so it cooks consistently. Instead of using a loaf pan, I'm following Alton Brown's method by baking it directly on a foil-lined tray. This allows better air circulation, helping the meatloaf develop a flavorful crust all around instead of steaming it in its own juices. Try not to pack it too tightly. Keeping it a bit loose helps it stay tender. Once it's shaped, we're ready for the next step. Before baking, we're brushing on a generous layer of barbecue sauce. This adds sweetness, tang, and a deep caramelized crust as it cooks. You can use your favorite store-bought sauce or make your own. Now, it goes into a 375-degree oven for about an hour. About halfway through, I'll brush on another layer to really lock in that flavor. While the meatloaf bakes, let's make stuffed peppers using the same meat mixture for a whole new twist on meatloaf. I'm cutting the bell peppers in half and removing the seeds and white membrane. This makes them easier to eat and gives us a perfect vessel for the filling. A little cheese goes into the bottom of each pepper. This melts into the meat, adding a rich, gooey layer of flavor. Now we're packing in the meat mixture, pressing it gently so it fills the pepper evenly without being too dense. Then they go onto a baking sheet, and we're brushing on a layer of barbecue sauce for extra flavor and a caramelized glaze. These bake at 375 degrees for 20 minutes to start cooking the meat while keeping the peppers tender. After 20 minutes, they come out, and we're topping them with a generous layer of shredded cheese. Now, they go back into the oven for another 20 minutes, letting the cheese melt and turn golden brown. It's been just about an hour, and our meatloaf is looking nice and bubbly. Let's bring it over to the counter and let it rest for 20 to 30 minutes. If you cut into it while it's freshly out of the oven, it's going to leak all those delicious juices everywhere, leaving you with a dry meatloaf. Cut into 1/2 inch to 1 inch slices and serve. Next, let me show you my favorite way to eat meatloaf. Grab your favorite bread and slice 2 pieces and place them into a toaster. While we wait for the toast to be done, pan fry 2 slices of day-old meatloaf over medium heat until you get some nice color on both sides. Cut the heat and let's assemble the sandwich. Start by adding the best mayo in existence, Kewpie mayo. But if you don't have it, you can always use whatever's in your fridge. Next, add some caramelized onions to the one side and top it with 2 pan-fried slices of meatloaf. Add a generous amount of barbecue sauce on top. And finally, for some color, mix spring lettuce. Now that's a sandwich that can't be beat. But if you think you can, leave a comment below. If you made it this far into the video and would like to help out the channel, hit that subscribe button to appease the algorithm gods. Our next goal is 500 subscribers. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next week.